Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing today? My name is Jackie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today in this video, I am going to be talking about all of the books that I am planning to read for the Jane Austen July readathon next month, and also some other random assorted books that I might be reading in the month of July. I have to say I have quite a TBR, and I'm a little bit scared, but I'm also excited. Jane Austen July is a readathon that occurs every year and is, as its name suggests, dedicated to reading books by or about Jane Austen in the month of July. And this is my first time participating. I am a huge Jane Austen fan. I have read all of her complete novels, and I am very excited to take part in this readathon and to read some works by Austen and her contemporaries. Sorry if the camera angle changed drastically. My camera was a little bit tilted, so I just readjusted it. But the first prompt for Jane Austen July is to read one of Jane Austen's main novels. And I have read all of her novels, but there's one that I don't quite remember as much as the rest, and it is one that I really want to reread for this readathon. That is Persuasion. This was Jane Austen's final novel. It was the last one she wrote, though it was published posthumously with Northanger Abbey, I believe. And I have read this. I took a Jane Austen class when I studied abroad in England. I will link that playlist in the card. However, when I read this, it was the beginning of December. I was really busy because I had finals, and I kind of rushed through reading it because I needed to read it for class and I didn't have a lot of time. So because of that, I feel like even though I've read this, I don't remember the details very well, and I didn't have the time to savor it as I would like. I know this is a lot of people's favorite Austen, so I really want to be able to reread it and actually take my time and enjoy it. Not to say I didn't enjoy Persuasion the first time I read it, I did. I just want to be able to go at my own pace this time without any added pressure of having to be ready for class and having finals going on at the same time. This is also being adapted into 2 upcoming films, and I don't know how I feel about the Dakota Johnson adaptation that's going to be coming out. I, like a lot of other people, thought this was supposed to be a modern adaptation because the original press release described how in that film the main character, Anne Elliot, is a modern woman with modern sensibilities. But then the first photos came out and it is a period piece. So now I'm kind of worried that they're going to try to make Anne feminist, and I say that with air quotes because you don't need to be a headstrong woman to be a feminist character, and I'm just really worried the Dakota Johnson film is going to make Anne into something she's not in order to be like modern and feminist when, you know, some women are a shyer personality, and that doesn't mean that they're not still strong, but that's a tangent. Anyways, I'm going to be reading Persuasion. Let's move on. The next prompt is to read something by Jane Austen that is not one of her main 6 novels. So it could be her novella, Lady Susan, it could be one of her unfinished works, it could be her letters. I decided I was gonna give myself something easy for at least one of these prompts. And so I'm going to be reading The History of England by a Partial, Prejudiced, and Ignorant Historian. This is something that Jane Austen wrote in her childhood or teenage years just for fun. And I purchased this little booklet at the Jane Austen Center in Bath. This is Jane Austen's bias accounts of the kings of England, beginning with Henry IV and ending with Charles I. And she is not at all trying to be impartial in this history. She is just telling you her personal and sometimes brutal opinions about all of these monarchs. So this is very, very short, and I figured since I have so many things on my TBR, I needed one easy thing for one of the prompts, and that's why I'm going to be reading this for Jane Austen July. The third prompt for the readathon is read a nonfiction work about Jane Austen or her time. And I had a limited selection for this prompt because when I was looking at what I could get from the library, there were not a huge amount of choices. There were some books that I thought, oh, maybe I can read this, and the library didn't have it. So I finally settled on this for the TBR, and I am actually kind of excited for it, even though it was not my first choice. So I am going to be reading What Matters in Jane Austen, 20 Crucial Puzzles Solved by John Mullen. This is a book where John Mullen goes over the details and intricacies, wow, words are hard, of Jane Austen's works by, in 20 chapters, addressing 20 questions about her various novels. And really the book is just meant to show the reader the depth of Jane Austen and how there's so much going on in her works that are reflective of the society that she lived in. I definitely think a lot of people who haven't read Jane Austen think that she just wrote romances. And yes, romance was a big part of her work, but there was a lot of social commentary going on, and a lot of times in Jane Austen, there are deeper themes that are not explicitly said, but are there if you look deeper. And so I am excited to read this book. I have read all of Jane Austen's 6 novels, like I said, so I think this would be a great book to read and will possibly only further solidify my obsession with Jane Austen. The next prompt for the readathon is to read a retelling of a Jane Austen book, and I am super excited. I am going to be reading The Other Bennet Sister by Janice Hadlow. This was on my 5-star predictions list, and I have heard so many positive reviews about this book. So many people I know gave it 5 stars and said they really loved it. This is a book that follows Mary Bennet. I believe it starts during the events of Pride and Prejudice and then continues on after the book ends. And in this story, we follow Mary Bennet's perspective, and I believe she possibly eventually finds the love that she deserves. It is quite large. It's over 600 pages, but I've heard so many good things about this book that I really am hoping I'm going to love it and it's going to be a great read. The next prompt is to read a book by a contemporary of Jane Austen. And originally I was thinking I would read Belinda by Maria Edgeworth, who was an author also writing around Austen's time. I read Evelina by Frances Burney this year, so I thought, why not read Maria Edgeworth, since she writes books that I've heard are very similar to Jane Austen and Frances Burney. However, the library doesn't have Belinda, and I didn't want to order it, so I had to pivot. And so I decided, why not read a Gothic novel? Why not take a page out of Catherine Morland's book? So I put on hold from the library The Mysteries of Udolpho by Anne Radcliffe. Honestly, I have no idea what this book is about. I know it's Catherine Morland's favorite. She talks about it several times in Northanger Abbey, and I'm expecting it to be absolutely ridiculous. I'm expecting soap opera levels of melodrama, and you know, I figured I would just read it because I've never read a Gothic novel before, and I wouldn't take it too seriously. I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is, and it might be ridiculous, but that might actually be fun. I've also heard some people say that reading Gothic novels makes you appreciate Northanger Abbey more because it really is satirizing that genre in many ways, and Northanger Abbey is my least favorite Jane Austen book, so maybe reading one of Catherine Morland's faves will make me enjoy Northanger Abbey more if I reread it. The only thing I'm apprehensive about is this book is also quite long. Goodreads says it's 600 pages. So I'm reading 2 books that are over 600 pages. Yeah, you can see now why I picked this for one of the prompts. I needed something really short because I have to read so many pages in July. The final 2 prompts for Jane Austen July are not related to books. They are to watch a direct screen adaptation of an Austen novel and to watch a modern screen adaptation of an Austen novel. So I think for the modern adaptation, I might watch Clueless because my mom has never seen it and I've only seen it once, so I wouldn't mind rewatching Clueless again. Clueless, if you don't know, is a cult classic movie that's based off of Emma. As for the direct adaptation, I'm really not sure what I'm going to watch for that because I think pretty much all of the direct adaptations that are easy to find in the US I've already seen. So if you have any recommendations for what I should watch, if you know of any direct Austen adaptations that are on streaming services, do let me know in the comments because I need something to watch for that prompt. And I've already seen Pride and Prejudice 2005 approximately 100 times, so I probably shouldn't watch that again, even though I'm always down to watch it again. I could watch the Laurence Olivier Pride and Prejudice film and then do an adaptation battle episode on that film, 2005 film, and the 1995 miniseries. But I kind of feel like that version's gonna be really bad. I mean, is the Laurence Olivier version anyone's favorite version of Pride and Prejudice? I don't think so. Now let's talk about other non-Austen related books that I need to read in July. First, I'm currently filming this on June 26th, and there is one book from this month's TBR that I haven't finished yet, and I don't think I'm going to finish it before July, and that's Becoming by Michelle Obama. I'm holding up the dust jacket because the book is on my nightstand over there. I've read less than 100 pages of this, and I am really, really loving it. It's just usually when I read nonfiction, I kind of read it in small chunks, and that's what I've been doing with this. I like to read nonfiction with another fiction book that I'm also reading at the same time so I can go back and forth. So I don't think I'm gonna finish this before the end of June. I will have to finish it off in July. I am really loving it so far. Then, because I was in the mood for a mystery to read this week, I put on hold from the library The Perfect Guests by Emma Roos, I think is her name, and I'm not sure if I'm going to finish that this month or if I will have to read it in July because the book is still in transit from another branch of the library and I don't know exactly when I'm going to be able to go get it. This is a mystery involving dual timelines. I believe it's set in England at a fancy manor house, and the modern timeline involves a young woman who is told that she's been hired for a job posing as a guest at this fancy party happening at the house, and she doesn't know why, but there might be something mysterious afoot. I don't remember exactly what the plot of this book is, but it sounded intriguing, and I added it to my TBR after I heard a positive review about it. So I might be able to read that before the end of June, or I might not. Depends on when the library will have it ready for me. And if that's not enough, there's one more unexpected addition to the TBR because when I was putting the John Mullen and Anne Radcliffe books on hold, I saw that I am now number 2 in line for The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I put this on hold a while ago. It's a new release by the author of The Silent Patient, and the last time I had checked, I was 7th in line. Now I jumped all the way up to 2. So this book is going to be ready for me within the next 2 weeks. and since it's a new release, the library only lets you check it out for 2 weeks at a time and you can't renew. So when it's my turn, I am not passing up that opportunity to read this book. Though I did not love The Silent Patient as much as everybody else, I thought it was promising and I wanted to check out the next book by this author. This book is also a dark academia style mystery that involves a bunch of girls who possibly worship the Greek death and springtime goddess Persephone, and I love that concept. At the risk of sounding like a total geek, Persephone is my favorite Greek goddess. Yes, I have a favorite Greek goddess, okay, and it's Persephone. So I'm hoping that I will like this book and I'm excited to read it. But that just means I have another book going on the July TBR. I'm gonna have to do so much reading in July to get all this stuff done. I was hoping I would be able to fit one of these on my Jane Austen July TBR as well. Pride and Prescience by Carrie Bebris, The Clergyman's Wife by Molly Greeley, or Heartstone by L. Catherine White. Wow, I can't talk today. Which is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice that includes dragons, a fantasy retelling of Pride and Prejudice. But considering how many books I have on the TBR, I don't know if I'm going to be able to read any of these in July. If by some miracle I complete everything on my TBR, I will pick one of these up as well, but you know, God's gonna have to be on my side for me to get through this TBR, because it is unexpectedly large. So everyone, those are the books on my massive July TBR. Let me know in the comments section, are you planning to read any of the books that I am going to be reading next month? I would really love to hear from you in the comments. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I post new videos every single Wednesday. My social media links are down below if you want to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, or be my friend on Goodreads. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a charming rest of your day. Bye, and I'll see you in the next video.